So, in Bungou Stray Dogs, we are straight away introduced to a character called Atsushi, a boy who's been driven out of his orphanage with not a dime to his name, nor any food to his name. He is starving. He needs to figure out how to get some food. These characters are going past, and he's like, I just can't do it, can I? And then what happens is, he kind of sees this guy submerged in water, legs like kind of up. He's just going down the river. It's kind of like, should I save him or shouldn't I save him? In the end, he does. And we actually get introduced to Dazai, and basically what happens is, he was actually trying to commit suicide. I was kind of like, that's one way to introduce a new character, I guess. And then in that, we actually introduced to Doppo as well, his actual partner. In that, we kind of find out Doppo's his kind of character who actually likes to kind of go by his schedule in a sense. When someone mucks it up, he goes a bit nuts, because it kind of happens in the episode. He kind of goes to Dazai, don't muck my schedule up, because I've been going at this perfect schedule, just don't do it. But he does it anyway. And what happens is, Dazai goes to Atsushi, look, you kind of saved my life, I've got to reward you somehow. And they actually find out they're both hungry, so it's like, oh, I'll get some food. What happens is, they both don't have any money, because when he was submerged in the water, he lost his wallet. So what happens is, Doppo has to kind of just give them some food. And in that, we get introduced to the whole kind of agency they work for, the kind of armoured detective agency of what it's called. And in that, they kind of take on jobs which the military don't actually want to take on, in the sense to kind of bit more higher up kind of idea, in the sense the kind of stuff they don't want to take on, the kind of bigger stuff. And because they have supernatural abilities, they can probably dispatch it quite easily and quite quickly. And then what happens is, they're basically looking for this tiger, a tiger who's been kind of ravaging this whole town, in the sense it's basically been causing them too much distress. They've got to kind of hunt it down and kind of find out who's behind it. In that, Atsushi kind of goes a bit nuts, because saying, don't get me involved in this, because it's been trying to hunt me down. It's been trying to hunt me down for the past couple of days. I've been ravaged by this tiger. Just leave me alone. Just don't. And then in that, you kind of think to yourself, don't tell me Atsushi's actually the actual tiger. Which then later on in the episode, your kind of suspicions are right. He actually is a tiger. I was like, oh, okay. So it's kind of a nice way to introduce a tiger, in a sense. Basically, in these scenes, you kind of he's seeing in the corner of his eye a tiger, but he's not realizing it's actually him. Then when under moonlight, he actually turns into this tiger, so he's not himself seeing it. But I thought it was actually quite a nice way to kind of introduce something that he's not seeing himself, that he's not kind of realizing that actually he's a tiger. But what happens is, you find out in the orphanage, the actual tiger attacked, and so it kind of killed everything, and basically just kind of destroyed everything and destroyed their livelihood. He was actually kind of taken out of the orphanage, driven out the orphanage, because they were shorthanding their kind of budget. And then in that, you kind of realise maybe you're not trying to tell him he's actually a tiger, in the sense the staff kind of knows already, you're the tiger, but we're not telling you. So basically they're saying, oh, you got nowhere to go, no one ever like you, go in a ditch and die, because they themselves, they know, but they're not telling him that he's actually the tiger. And then what happens is, Dazai says, oh, want to get actor's bait so we can actually get the tiger out. And then that's what happens in the end. They're kind of sitting there. Dazai's reading a book about committing suicide. I was kind of like, okay, that's kind of strange. I was like, that's one of those things, he kind of knows what the book's about. So he's kind of like we kind of know he's trying to commit suicide, but I guess everyone's trying to interfere with it. It's cool. It's kind of a weird trait, but I thought it was kind of interesting in that regard. It's kind of a bit more, I guess he's a bit more full frontal with everything that's going to happen. And basically what happens is, they kind of reveal that actually he's a tiger, and so it's under moonlight he actually turns into tiger, but he didn't realize himself. And then basically what happens is, you kind of introduce a Dazai's ability, which actually allows them to just kind of nullify any ability the person has. And when he touches Atsushi, he actually nullifies his power, and since he actually turns back to a normal human. And in that, he actually joins the actual kind of like agency itself. And then you also get introduced to the other characters themselves, which all do kind of have their own personality to them, in the sense Ranpo is kind of my favourite. Besides Dazai, Ranpo's my favourite, and also Doppo's my favourite as well. Akiko, that's her name, right? It's actually pretty freaking interesting as well. I think Kenji's actually also very freaking interesting in their own regards. Every single one of them poses something completely different to the other, and they're actually kind of interesting to watch. I thought, if anything else doesn't turn out as great as I hoped, I think the characters themselves will drive the kind of narrative across. If the plot itself, which I kind of hope doesn't actually turn out to be too bad, if the plot itself is bad, I think the characters will actually help the kind of plot drive along at a quite reasonably fast pace. It will kind of just fill the gaps in, because each of them are voiced so freaking damn well that even in the very first and very, very, very brief introduction of Ranpo, I was kind of like, I'm freaking sold on him. I was like, he's voiced by Isaiah, I'm freaking damn sold. The Saiyans bring to life these characters, and I think they do a great freaking job at it. So Dazai is best boy, but I think Ranpo is kind of just close second. So if anything else doesn't turn out as great, just watch it for the characters, because they're all just freaking enjoyable to watch. They're all based off kind of writers and authors and poets in Japan, so that's kind of like, that's even more of a novel idea to actually use in this kind of anime. They're all based off authors in Japan. It's kind of just that idea, like, huh, that's actually that's kind of cool. It's kind of just different. So I was like, even in that, even their abilities sometimes also based off some of their books. So it's kind of like, in that's actually also very enjoyable to actually see some characters based off people in literature in Japan. So I was kind of like, cool, I'm actually sold. I actually quite like it. Hopefully it retains its quality, because again, I swear it's a 2-core anime, so you'll be back in October, so hopefully it does retain its quality throughout the whole anime. So yeah, what advice have been in driver? If you leave a like, do leave that as quite a bit. Leave a sub, do leave a sub as quite a bit. But I was saying driver, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.